I would like to explain some of the events that took place on the day of the accident. It had been a very hot day. My reason for getting on the 2-lane was that at 80 miles an hour, with the heat, I felt like I was melting into the pavement, and the ride was not enjoyable. So as you saw, I started following the 2-lane next to the Yellowstone River. It was much cooler and a better ride. But I ran out of road at one point, turned around, got back on the freeway for a short stint, and then found another path onto the 2-lane. As I was coming into a corner, I went to brake, and there was nothing there. That was my life before my eyes type of moment. I'm pressing on both the rear brake and the front brake, and nothing's happening. I've ridden that bike for over 90,000 miles. I knew what it could do. So I started to push it over, pushing hard on the handlebars, and then it started to buck. And I decided right there, I do not want to get off on the pavement. So I started looking around and saw that the shoulder was all mowed. It was clear. And I thought I can ride it off the shoulder and go into the grass and it'll be fine. Well, much to my dismay, as I soon found, the grass was hiding, where the grass was tall, was hiding a fence. And as you can see in the pictures, I took out the fence, and the fence took out my leg. So, it threw me off the bike flipped over, throwing me, catapulting me out into the field. And I could feel my leg, something was wrong. So then I hit the ground, and as soon as I kind of gained some kind of consciousness, I could hear the bike still running. I could hear it that it was starving for oil. So I crawled back under the barbed wire fence, catching my gear on it, still fully geared up, helmet, everything. Crawled over to the bike, shut it off, found my phone, dialed 911, and then sat there and talked to the 911 operator till somebody arrived. The first vehicle on the scene was an old beat-up Ford red pickup. The gal came out with a case in her hand, and I jokingly said to her, "I sure hope that's not your ambulance." She laughed and said, "No, they're on their way." And sure enough, an ambulance came. Sheriff showed up. Sheriff's question to me was your GoPro on? I said, "No, dang it wasn't." And so we kind of proceeded from there. They said they needed to cut my boots off to get to my leg, and I said no. I said those are brand new BMW boots that were given to me by my wife as a Christmas present, and I wasn't about to have them cut them off. I said just unzip them on the side there and unvelcro them, and my foot will basically fall out. So they proceeded to unzip them, and my foot didn't basically fall out. It was excruciating, but I wasn't about to have them cut them off. And the same with my riding gear. Everything zipped off. They took it all off. I had a pair of gym shorts on underneath. And then they packed me up into the ambulance. And the ambulance ride, I could feel every single bump. And that road that I had been on turned into a mess. It was potholed and cattle guards, and it was horrible. And I was about 50 miles away from Billings, and so I got to ride in the ambulance to Billings. While in the ambulance, I got to talking to the gal that was the first responder. She came in the ambulance with me, and I had figured that she had been out doing her farm chores, and sure enough, she had been. And she received the call and dropped everything and came to my rescue, basically. Well, as you'd seen in the video, I had stopped at the butcher shop and picked up a bunch of jerky and beef sticks and for the ride and to give to Jeffrey. So I asked her, I said, "Where's my tank bag?" And she said, "Oh, it's right over there." And she had put it in the ambulance. And so I said, opened it up and see all that jerky and everything in there. I said, "Please take it." And she, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that." I said, "Well, I'm not going to be able to use it where I'm going, so you might as well take it." So she was grateful for that and took it. And then we arrived at the hospital, and that started the saga of the surgery, where first they didn't have regular just ace bandage when they wrapped my leg with a splint on the site. They had sticky bandage. And so when the hospital started to remove that, every time they'd have to tug on my leg, it would just send me through the roof. I've had a lot of pain in my life. I've broken bones and stuff, but that took the cake. Anyway, they set me up in the hospital, and then about 12 hours later, they needed to do surgery. At this point, I didn't have a scratch on me, basically. I didn't have any cuts or anything. And so they had to go in. I'd broken my leg in 3 places, just below my knee, just above my ankle, and then off to the one side. A small bone, I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, the doctor said that he had to put a lot of different bionic parts on my leg. There's a rod that goes from my knee down to my ankle. There's plates in the middle, screws around my ankle and screws around my knee. So I will definitely be setting off some metal detectors from now on, I guess. But he said my leg looked like a sushi roll. He tried one procedure and that didn't work, and he had to redo everything. But he got it all put back together, and I'm up and hopping around now pretty good. A longtime companion came to visit me today. I found it hard to find the words to thank him for saving my life. The doctor also mentioned that he was amazed at the condition I was in. There wasn't a mark on me. He said I must have some amazing riding gear. And I said, I always gear up, and it's proven to save me. I need to thank my son-in-law for going to the crash site, taking the pictures, and checking on my bike and making sure what was going on with it. I'm very grateful to him and all that he does.
I think your leg is bad. Look, what about the poor post? You can't repair that. Found the mirror. Souvenir.